The Ortur Laser Master H10. That's what's in this package here that I have not opened yet. And you can see just off to the side of the camera, it's my Ortur enclosure where I have my Laser Master 3. I've had a lot of Ortur lasers, with the first one being the Laser Master 1. Then I've bought me the Laser Master 2. Now I've got the Laser Master 3. And Ortur has sent me the H10 to demonstrate, I guess because I've done so many videos on their products. You must like them. So we're going to get this thing unboxed and see what there is to putting it together from what I've read on it. And I haven't even opened this or played with it yet. This requires very, very little assembly. So let's open up this plastic here and see what's in the box inside it. Well, the box says Laser Master H10. Nice big sheet of foam. Yeah, and you can see what everything is in there. You get, first you have the manual, and you have the recommended settings. You get these with all the Ortur lasers. Recommended settings for different materials for both for light burn and for laser Gerbil, if you happen to use Gerbil. And we have a little sheet here that tells you what is in the box. And I haven't looked to see how many watts this is yet. We'll look at that next. Here's a laser head, and it is 10 watt. That's 1,000 milliwatts. It says 1,000 milliwatts, it's 10 watts. So we'll get to that here shortly. So need to get everything out of the box here and out of the foam, and we can get to putting this together. There's not much assembly to this, doesn't look like. Okay, the first thing they tell you to do is to push the X-axis. That's this right here. This is your X-axis. And if you're not familiar with using a laser, left and right is X, forward and back is Y. That's your Y-axis this way. So the first thing they tell you to do is to push this all the way to the back. And there's two little screws, and they're going to be really hard to show. There's a little screw on each side, looks a little silver-headed socket head cap screw, and you want to make sure that this bar hits that evenly and there's no gaps. And we are good to go there. Then you're supposed to check for smooth travel back and forth. Don't go yanking this back and forth real fast. You want to do it slowly. Let's see, stepper motor is plugged in, and a stepper motor, as it rotates, does generate electricity. You'll only be able to come this far forward. There's a little stop right there where it stops for your limit switch. So you can't pull this all the way forward. But everything moves nice and smooth there. Shouldn't be any bumps or anything like that. There's not a whole lot of hardware involved here. There's a little bitty bag of screws, and I put them in my little magnetic tray here. The first thing you want to do is put this plate on. You'll notice on the plate that there's screws on one end. That goes down. If you don't put that up, because you'll never be able to slide your module in, that's a stop to keep it from going too far. So you'll have these little M4x6 screws, and they will mount to this plate right here. And you've got your choice of up here or down there. I am going to set mine at the upper set here because I'm probably going to put a honeycomb board under this for the demonstration, and that will definitely give me the space for it. So these screws have a Phillips head, and they do not give you a Phillips screwdriver with this. You have to come up with your own. But there's 4 of these screws to put in. Now, I always start everything before I tighten them down completely. And once I've got them all in there, I'll go back and tighten them down. That's your first step. Pretty easy. Next, you'll be mounting the feet. And right now I still have it upright, and the front of it is towards me. Your legs look like this here. And then you have these little spacer pads that have to go on the front but you don't get them on the back. And then you have two different size screws. Whoop, pick them up here. You've got a, what does it say, an M4x6, an M4x10. So you have the 6 and the 10. The 10s go on the front, the 6s go on the back. They're socket head cap screws for an 8-Allen wrench. Did you give you an 8-Allen wrench with that? Yes, I know it's an Allen wrench. I prefer to use these drivers like this. It's entirely up to you. If you don't have these, the wrench that comes with them will work just fine. So I'm going to turn this upside down with the front still towards me. And I'm going to put the front legs on first. That's where you'll have the longer screws. They'll stick up through the leg there. And then you put the spacer on it. And there's a threaded hole that they'll screw right into. And I'll turn it around. We'll just do the same thing for the other end, but there we have no spacers and we use the shorter screws. Now if you're using one of these drivers, it's 3 M&Ms if you're needing to keep score there. And while you're in the neighborhood of having this upside down, I'll flip it back around here so you can see. There is a Wi-Fi antenna in one of these bags. I saw it. There it is. There's also a little USB flash drive there that probably has something interesting on it. We'll look at here in a little bit. You have this Wi-Fi antenna. Port right here to screw that on the front, on the bottom. I'm just going to point it off to the side. It'll be out of the way. So now I can turn this back over. All right, the next step would be to check the tension on your belts. And every one of these on here, both the Y and the X, are set really well as they are. And I have no wobble here or anything. To do this, for example on the X, I'm going to move this all the way to the back. You'll need to loosen this screw right here on the top. And then there's a hole right here. You can stick your Allen wrench in like so. And if you needed to tighten or loosen your belt, you would loosen this screw here first. Like this here, I'll just give you an example. And through this hole on the end, that must not be an Allen in there. That's a Phillips in there. So again, once you have this one here loosened, you can stick a Phillips screwdriver in here into that screw, and you can tighten or loosen your belt. Now that I loosened it up, I have to reset it. So there we are there. You just tighten this back down to lock it. Now for your Y-axis, you have one of these on each side. It's going to be the same thing here. You would loosen the screw on the side right here. Then you would set your tension by tightening or loosening the screw here. Once you have it set, you tighten this one here back down. I don't need to mess with these, they're already set good. Okay, you've got your little USB adapter there. There's a TF card, or I call a micro SD card inside. That needs to be taken out of the adapter and then plugged into the motherboard. So if you tip this up, you'll see, hopefully you can see that right here, there's a little card slot for that. And the gold side will be facing up, or it's facing me, because I have this up on edge so you can see that. And you want to go in until it locks in place. Also included in here is a spare lens. That's in that little plastic bag in there. Don't lose that. If you ever damage your lens or get a chip in it or anything, you'll need that. So there's a little thumb screw like this. Comes in the bag. This is your laser head. The hole right in the side there. You just start the couple threads in there. And this will slide right on over that dovetail. And I'm just going to put it at a random spot. That's how you set your focus up and down. And you'll also have this is called the focus plate, and I'll show you how that works here shortly. This will need to plug in right here. This is the only wiring there is. It only goes in one way. That just plugs in right in like that. Okay, also in the package is a rubber hose, and on the top of your laser head there's a little cork. This is if you have air assist. This does not come with an air assist pump, but I already have one, so I have several of them. So this hose, after you take this little rubber cork out of there, just slips down in, push it in, and it'll lock. So now this will need to follow your cable, and there are holes here on the back of the x-axis where you could slip a wire tie in. I'm not going to snug mine up yet until I get everything the way I want it. You don't want to make it too tight or you'll collapse your air hose. You want to check for travel and make sure you don't short yourself here on length coming back. Again, don't make those too tight or you'll shut your airflow off if you're using air assist. The cable's a little stiff here because it's cold in the shop. Once you're certain you've got full travel everywhere, then you can come back and snug these down a little more. Again, don't over crimp that or you'll shut your airflow off to your head there. Then you can just go back and cut all the tag ends off. As you unpackage, if you wonder what this little thing is, it's an airflow regulator. You can put around your air hose and you can crimp this down to restrict the amount of air that is flowing. The pump I'm going to hook up is variable, so if you don't have a pump that has variable speed on it, that's what this thing is for. And the other thing you'll have in here, this little metal plate is a wrench for when you're changing your lens, and this here is an air fitting for your air assist pump. That's all there was to the assembly. So now we're going to get into getting this thing powered up. Not a whole lot going on with this either. Of course, this is my hose for the air assist pump. We'll get hooked up in a minute. Your power connection's right there on the front. You'll have a USB cable. This is an A to A, so it's not like a USB printer cable, because I grabbed one of my other cables and then right away so I can't use it because both ends are the same. So that'll just plug in right up here on the front. And need my power cord attached to, it's all nice and stiff because it's cold in here. This just plugs into the brick. Get that over out of the way, get that plugged in. And I'll get my computer over here. Right on the computer side of things, there's a couple different programs you can use with this laser. One of them is Laser Gerbil, which I don't usually use, but I will show you how to get connected with it. So you will need to, well, I'll update that later. You'll need to turn your laser on. Button on the top there, you just push that down, hold it for about 3 seconds. Your laser will come on. And I'm on COM 4. And it also shows me what's on the SD card that's inside there. We have a couple of G-code files here, which engrave something, I don't know what. Let's look, see what else is on there. So you have your user manual in 10 languages. Software in here, there's probably Laser Gerbil and, yep, Laser Gerbil and Lightburn. Should be a driver. Well, you can also do the driver from Laser Gerbil. I'll show you how to do that. You can install the software from this card, or, as I suggest, go to the actual websites for each of the softwares and download them from there. That way you'll have the latest version. So we'll drop that back down. Okay, tools. Install the CH340 driver. You just click on that and I've already got it installed. I'm not going to install it again, so I'm going to click no, but you would just click yes, and then it would install it for you. Then to connect the laser, you find the right COM port, connect right here, and my access to that port is denied. Why is that? Try a different port. So this says COM port. We'll try to connect again. Yeah, we're connected. Yep. And then to disconnect from Laser Gerbil, you just click that, disconnect. There's also some icons at the bottom. I'm not going to go into that though. It's not the software I usually use. Now I'm going to open up Lightburn. This is my preferred software. I use it for 99% of everything. So we got a new version there too. We'll do that later. So I have a lot of different lasers, so I'm going to click that to choose. And over here where it says devices, I'll click on that, and I'm going to click on find my laser. Make sure your laser's on or this isn't going to work. And just click next. There it is. Ortur 300 by 300 at COM 4. I had to change COM ports. So add devices. Of course, I'm going to call this Ortur H10. And of course, mine is showing in inches, so it's 300 millimeters square or 11.81 inches square. That's your work area. Go next, and it homes at the front left. We'll auto home on startup. So you click finish, and click OK. Now I'll go over here and it'll be clear down at the bottom there. So there I am waiting for connection. Okay, for demonstration purposes, I have a honeycomb board underneath here. It does not come with a laser. I have several of them. But I don't want to put any scars or burns or anything on my saw table here. So again, move these things slowly. You're doing it by hand. I have a little scrap 1/8" plywood on there. This is your focus plate. You need to slide that underneath the laser head. Loosen the thumb screw up. Let it set right down on there. And take this back out. So what I'll do now is send the laser back home. I'm doing this from Lightburn, so we'll send that back home. And I do have an air assist pump connected. It's sitting back here. It's off of my Laser Master 3. This did not come with an air assist pump, but it did come with a line and hose for it, so that's something good to know there. Okay, for my demonstration here, I'm going to do this mandala. So I've got this opened up. I'm going to center it. I work from absolute coordinates, as you can see over here. So I need to get rid of the tool path off the outside, then I need to resize this. So I can't make it quite that big. So we'll highlight this and make sure that's locked. I'm going to shrink this down to, looks like I can do 3 inches on there. So we're going to be going at, no, I don't want to cut it. And I don't want to run that as an image. So I'm going to right click on that and click trace image. Now I have just some lines I can cut. These are very fine lines, as you can see. I'll blow that up a little bit. So we're going to run and not 2 passes. I'm going to run at 2,000 millimeters per minute. I'm going to drop this down to 80% power. And I'm going to turn my air assist on low. That way it helps keep the lens clean. So next I'll take this over and put the on the other camera, and I'll show you how we frame this, because I will be clicking on this little square right here, which will frame it. That'll show me where that's going to be. It's going to be in that little area right there. Now I'll come over here and I'll just click on start. The total engrave time on this is 2 minutes and 57 seconds, because I'm just doing simple line engrave. And this is on 1/8 inch birch plywood. So there's a mandala, get that to focus. I want to do something with a lot of detail in to show you how accurate this is. So now everyone's going to want to know, what will it cut? Well, we can do that too. We get reset. So using the same material, I'm going to do a little cowl. So it's got some spots on it, and that's going to be a fill. And then it's going to cut out around the outside of it, and it's I think my little piece of wood is big enough, so we'll frame this to make sure. I missed it a little bit. Okay, my settings here for the fill, for the little spots on the cowl, it's going to be 1,000 millimeters per minute at 35% power, and the cut is at 400 millimeters per minute at 90% power. We'll just click start. We'll start out with the little spots on the cowl. I do have the air assist on, and since I'm going to be doing a cut, I turned it up. So you may see some sparks flying around from the fill. Probably could have backed off on the power on my fill on this. I see that it came out a little dark and scorched and way deeper than it needed to be. So I probably should have done 2,000 millimeters per minute at 35% power on that one. Now it's cutting out the shape, and it's going to get smoky in here because I do not have this in an enclosure or any way to vent that out. I do have a vent in here for my enclosure. Maybe if I turn that on, it'll help suck some of that out of here. So here's our cowl, and as I said, I needed to back off the, I should say I need to either speed that up or back off on the power for the spots on the cowl, but we can do another one. Yeah, this one's coming out much better with I doubled the speed on the fill on the spots. So as you can see, that one come out much better, that being the first one with the power set too high on the fill. That gives you an idea of some speeds and settings there if you're new to one of these. Just curious to what the G-code file was that was on that little TF card, so I'm running it. And that's it. That's not much. I don't know what that was supposed to be. Try running the other one. Not sure what that's supposed to be. One of the tests I like to do with all of my lasers is see if it's actually what they say the working area is. So I just drew a 300 millimeter square in light burn, and I am framing it to see if it will frame that entire 300 millimeters. And so far it's doing it. I haven't hit hard limits or soft limits or run into anything yet. So it appears that it did it. So yes, you do get your full 300 millimeters on this. Some lasers are a millimeter too short. So there's a setup and startup of the Ortur Laser Master H10. Very little assembly to it. It's not as big as some of the other lasers. I mean, it's by no means as big as Laser Master 3 over there, or as powerful, but it's just fine. It's a 10-watt laser, and you can do some pretty precise things with this. What a lot of people don't understand when you talk about laser wattages, and I'm talking about output wattage, not, you know, oh, it's a 120-watt laser. Well, it might be 120 watts in, but you're only going to get 20 watts out. So I'm talking about the laser head output. This says a 10-watt output. 10 watt is more precise with your lines and everything than, say, a 40 watt. If you're going to be doing a lot of cutting, you want to go with that higher power laser. But as you get with the higher power, the beam also gets larger and you can't do things quite as precise. 10-watt laser is a good sweet spot, especially for a start out. If you're just starting out with a laser, you want to learn how to use it. You want something from a reputable brand. Ortur is one of those reputable brands. That said, there'll be a link in the description on where you can get one of these from Ortur. I'm sure they're glad to send you one. And again, this was provided to me to test and demonstrate. And in the next video on this, I'll be doing a layout grid and putting mounts on it like I do with all my lasers. So if you got anything out of this, appreciate getting a thumbs up. Always helps the channel. I'm Roger in the shop. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.